You know, Shaq, I had the opportunity to meet you for the very first time at that press conference at the National Press Club last Wednesday in Washington, D.C. I am from California, so I stay clear of the swamp as often and as early as possible. But when I was there, Kathleen Willey and Juanita Broderick and Leslie Milwee, who are all victims of sexual harassment and assault by our former president, William Jefferson Clinton, joined us on stage together. And we talked about the fact that Al Franken has got to go. John Conyers has got to go. We nicknamed him Captain Underpants because he paraded around the office around in his tidy whities in front of his female staffers, harassing them. And in some cases, some of the allegations involved assault as well. How do we, as Republicans, demand that Al Franken go? There's been a deafening silence from the congressional Republicans. Of course, it should be just an automatic given. What do you think about that?
Well, many members of the swamp are part of the protection, or what I call is the Predator Protection Agency. I mean, even Barbara Comstock, for example, sits on that particular committee where all of these hush fund monies are paid out of. She's one of 6 congressmen, Melanie, that sits on this committee on the Republican side, and yet she hasn't released the names. She hasn't changed the forum to identify the predators. What we really need to do is we need to get our moral fiber and our moral backbone back in place and say that this type of behavior, it's not available, it shouldn't be available in the Congress, it shouldn't be available in our workplace. And as you said earlier, you know, I saw it firsthand when I was a foster parent. We had many children that had sexual assaults against them, and the criminal justice system was able to identify the parents, come in and arrest them as needed. But we've got congressmen and senators right now that won't even identify the predators. I mean, they're enabling this to occur. And Melanie, I mean, thank you for standing up. Thank you for having the courage to call out this type of behavior, because I heard today or yesterday that there's been a third lady who's now been, it was either for him or...
It was for Congressman Conyers. Yes, a church lady, which is absolutely despicable. But you're right, Barbara Comstock, we invited her to the press conference. She has supposedly sponsored some legislation to end these slush hush funds, but the legislation is just a joke. And she didn't even show up to the press conference.
Yeah, not only does she want to be the voice of the victim, she doesn't show up to the press conference. But to be clear, the only thing that she's sponsoring right now is an education class that's made mandatory for all the members and the staffers to take. I mean, how silly is that? When you have corporate America, and corporate America puts together a sexual harassment class, who are they really protecting? They're protecting themselves. They're not protecting the predator or even the victim. And this bill that Barbara's put forward is a complete and total sham. It's really a disgrace.